Hey there, monkeys. Grab that cup of coffee, kick back, and relax. We'll get started with a SITREP in just a minute. Introducing the official Werx coffee in 3 bold flavors. Fog Navigator, the master of mornings, chocolate and apricot. Texas Pecan, Lone Star Luxury, pecan and cocoa. House Decaf, full flavor, no buzz, smoky dark chocolate. 3 bold new flavors now available at monkeywerxus.com/shop or scan the QR code on screen now. All right. Hey, welcome, folks. Mil Spec Ops Monkey here. It's going to be your SITREP. It is January 4th, 2024. Come to you live here from the great state of Texas in the Monkey Lounge, as you can see right here behind me. And we're going to get into the deets. A lot of stuff going on. Remember, just a few weeks ago, I said, keep your eyes on Lebanon because they are doing a heck of a lot of recon. There's drones, R-135s, all kinds of stuff right off of that coastline. They're watching things intently inside of Lebanon. And I've been showing you what has been going on between Israel and Lebanon at that border. We're going to look at more details of what's going on over there right now. But they are saying, we're hearing it from the German government, the Swedish government, many of the NATO countries, telling people that if you're in Lebanon, you need to get out now because they know something that the rest of us don't know yet. But we've been watching it, and we could tell it was going to ramp up. So we're going to look at that. We're going to talk a little bit more about it. And we're going to talk about this Epstein's list that's coming out today. We're going to talk about the economy. We got a lot of things to cover, and it's going to be a very, very quick 30 minutes. I will assure you of that as we get into the deets. So let's start it out over here on the mini. By the way, if you haven't joined us over on Patreon, we would love to have you over there with us. It is less than a cup of coffee, and you get so much more stuff over there. We have a lot of exclusive content. We've got chat rooms and a lot of good things going on in that community. So we would love to have you over there. You can hit that little QR code off to the side there, and that'll take you straight in. And I'm telling you, you will love it. Everybody that comes over really does enjoy it. So, all right, let's do this. Looking at the current mini, you can see we are kicking it off with the air refuelers up. Currently 26 that are currently in the skies. This is live, real time. You can see somebody's already made a trip down here to the southern border near Del Rio. All right, we've got a little bit of activity there. It looks like in the Tucson, as well as over towards kind of that Yuma area. And then we go a little up the eastern seaboard. I'll kick it off to the side, and you can see out over the water, a lot of things going on up here. That, again, is an indicator of fighter activity because fighters have to get gas a lot more frequently than anybody else. And so when you see a lot of air refuelers up, good indicator that you've got a lot of fighters up, okay? Now, I'm just going to glimpse over at Europe to see if we see anything at all, and we do. You can see, looks like we got some air refueling support coming out of the UK into Europe, and anything else? Nada. All right, let's go over here to the U.S., we're going to take that off. We're going to bring these back. I've already stripped out Tex-2s and T-38s as well as the EC-45s. Here's why. If you look at the EC-45s, those are trainer activity. Panhandle, hot and heavy this morning. So 21 of those, we're going to just take them out of the lineup. That does take, between just those trainers alone, you're talking 70, 26, another 21. So you're just under 125 roughly, ballpark, okay? But look at the sky. I mean, this is a lot of activity, as you can see, over the United States. It only 168. Again, we've stripped out 120 of the trainers. And you can see the D328s. That is going to be your legal eagle for, I say legal eagle. Your Uber, sorry, scratch that, reverse it. That's your Uber for the Spec Ops community, okay? That just kind of sums that one up. But a lot of C-130s going on. And like I said, well, let's just take a look. We looked at the air refuelers. Here are your Blackhawks. You can see a very large amount up here in the Northeast. And then if we go down to H-47s, that's going to be your Banana Copter. 2 of them here. Everything else is over in Europe right now. Okay, so let's do this. Let me see what this E3 Sentries. That's your advanced early warning. Notice you've got one off the East Coast. Again, these guys handle all kinds of different things. Air traffic control for, congestion. Man in the middle, where they can actually become the cell tower in the sky and grabbing all of your data. And they also have the ability to look at any kind of early warning threats that may occur, right? Like missile incoming kind of thing. Okay. So there's that. Let's go over to the watch list. And you can see really busy over Europe right now, which is, that's kind of cool. You got that particular one looks to be one of the Forge aircraft, typically see a little G5 there. We have some survey flights in the mix. Notice we've got 2 R-135s. Again, this is active, currently up as we speak. And then there's one of your little Banana Copters. That's the Black Wolf, right? We've seen that very active over Iraq over the past year and a half. That's a comms bird if you don't know what that looks like. It's flies under Glex, but it's Black Wolf is a call sign, and it is a comms bird. Again, a lot of work over Iraq, even some into Syria, kind of right up pushing that border we've seen in the past. And then notice it came out of Riyadh in that general area. That's going to be a survey plane. And then we're going to go over to the United States. We'll kind of strip it back and forth so you can see exactly what it is we're talking about. This would be, you can see them flashing the survey flights. A lot of them up. Just under 30, I believe it is. But now I take them out. Yeah, it was a lot of surveys. That time of year, all right? And then those are border, customs and border protection. And let's see, we've got, looks like little R-135s coming up. That's a drone, I believe. So probably a Q9. I think that is actually very hard to see on my screen right now. It's very small. So let's see, that's a training flight. The Venus call signs are training. And then there you go. We've got the usual R-135s, E3s. We got, there's your D328 Dorniers. That's going to be, like I said, the Uber for your Spec Ops community. There's that airborne early warning system, AWACS, a little Banana Copter there towards Jacksonville, south of Savannah. And then you can see some border protection stuff, right? That's going to be your watch list. Let's look at the intel side of the house. Slight uptick, but not where you want to see it given the state that we are in. This is coming south of Tucson over into Los Angeles. We get into Texas. You can see San Antonio up to Austin and then all the way across to Arkansas near Little Rock and then down, parking one right there near Trump. Go figure. Believe me, the shenanigans, and it came out of D.C., shenanigans that play on that poor guy this year, I can only imagine the stress that has on his life. Absolutely disgusting what they are doing, and illegal for that matter. Okay, now check this out. There's your normal stuff we see in that general area over Romania, up near the Latvia, Lithuania, etc. just looking at the Russians like they always do. And then we'll get in a little close. You can see in Israel, all of the stuff going on. They are hot and heavy, coast to coast. Remember, it's only about less than 300 miles tip to tip when it comes to Israel and the size of them, okay? All right, sub-hunters. This is the last 10 days. It has been very, very light between these guys, R135s. Very strange, in fact, starting off the new year. The big one is here. You saw it down south there at Constanta. That one's kind of rounding the horn, getting into the Russian side of the house from Norway. Then we get over to the United States, and it's a mixed bag of tricks here. I don't even know what to think. It's all over the place, from the Keys all the way up to D.C., down into the Panhandle, up into the Northeast, like really far Northeast, and then just a flurry of activity out of Seattle. Notice it's going to Hawaii, and they're very busy in Hawaii, right? You can see that's a lot of traffic. We normally don't see that much out there, just not from the P8 perspective, unless they're crashing, right? But, okay, let's talk drones. The drones, again, very light, and you can see some broken traces. You got some stuff coming out of Malta. It looks like there is a little bit of work there over the Mediterranean, and then up towards Istanbul and that port, and then a broken trace out over the Black Sea. Probably a Q4 because that's going to be a lot higher altitude. It's harder for the Russians to get up there and mess with them. But Istanbul, that port, that's an eyes on. Notice that drone came out of Qatar. All right, now over to the U.S., and we don't have anything. Is that not strange? Like, absolutely nothing. When you've got what's going on with our southern border, and you have this, nothing. Yeah, not good. All right, look at the R135s here. This is all I have. I have nothing over the United States. I just have it over, circling Kaliningrad, looking at the Ruskies. That's coming out of the UK. Nothing else. All right, now, check this out, and this is going to segue us into some of the content in terms of the news, etc. These are your C-17s. I'm going to hit pause just for a second because I want to talk to this for a minute. Do you remember what the C-17 traffic looked like just after October 7th? Right? Gave it about 3-4 days, and then all of a sudden it was this flurry of activity into the United States and all over the United States. Now look at it, okay? Notice the difference. Very, very focused between Washington State down to Beale Air Force Base in California. Heavy traffic back and forth there. And then little spotty stuff at the ports and onesie-twosies into the center and around the United States. But look at Savannah, Charleston, you get up near Norfolk, all of those areas down to the Keys, right? Very light. And then that's from Flashbang being down in the Virgin Islands. That's a C-17 bringing his vehicle, probably helicopter down there, whatever it may be. They throw that stuff on C-17s, believe it or not. It's kind of crazy to think they can fit a helicopter in that, but they do. So, but yeah, this is, look, I mean, see the broken trace 1 into Egypt? And that's in and out of Qatar and then the UAE. So that tells me that what we thought was going on with them bringing the people out of Gaza into the United States on these C-17s and just in droves, right? That tells me that was probably what was going on there. It's all of a sudden, you get this done where you're not seeing a lot of traffic. That's because we've already moved everybody we can get or we're going to get in. The rest of them are coming via commercial flights. But we had this mad dash, just like we saw when Afghanistan collapsed and we pulled our troops out, and then all of a sudden, whoop, all these flights started coming into the United States. I'm telling you, our government is this is treason against we the people. Straight up, right? What they are doing every day is tearing down our country. They are just destroying it from within by bringing these people into our country. Okay, this is going to be your live arrow notice. Okay, when I say live arrow, I say that iArrow live tracking Swift Airs. I want you to see the moves on the interior of our country. Okay, this is them bringing them in to the interior of our country. Very active, very busy. Let's look at what the Swift flights look like the last 3 days. 20 flights, so we're consistent around 20 flights every 3 days, bringing people in. And you can average about 200 bodies on every one of these flights. And to Tucson, notice the shift. They're moving them from border town to get them on other flights and to reallocate the flow. Okay, that's exactly what's going on there. Look at this, Denver, you get up here, all over the interior of the United States, flying them in, dropping them off. Yeah, so there you have it, okay? Again, Swift Air, and this is what they do. This is their bread and butter. Sold out. So, all right, back over to the Mini, and let's get into the details. Okay, now we've heard about it. We've seen leaked lists and all kinds of things coming out, but evidently this coming out of, I'm not going to say the name because it'll flag things. That tells you all you need to know, okay? But it will. All right, now check this out. It looks like his associate list is to begin rolling out today. Now, the big takeaway is the really crazy thing. So it's 150 people, and there's one person that doesn't live in the United States that says, because she is in a conservative community, that she doesn't want her name on this. So she's the only one that is getting some type of a granted stay just for all the way till I think January 22nd. She has to produce what she needs to validate her concerns. I think it'll end up being pushed out. Okay. But that's the only person. It's a Jane Doe. It's a female living in a foreign country that said, hey, if my name is released, I will have far-reaching repercussions, which I say let the chips fall where they may. So let's see here. This one is Jane Doe 107, okay, out of the 150. And the biggest thing here is they're saying John Doe 36 is going to be this guy right here. All right, that one. And they say there were over 50 trips, I believe it was. 50 times his name has come on. Many of those trips were while he was president. Well, everybody thought he was at home at the White House, laying there next to, I can't even get that image, and you can't unsee that. I won't even go there. But hey, listen, the reality is this dude was on there 50 times. This pervert right here. All right. So this is going to be really interesting to see what happens. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of tidbit, just as a data point for you. Okay. I'm not saying anything other than I just want to point out something. All right. North of Caracas. And I just want to show you something. This chain of islands right here used to be very, very clear. You could look at everything all the way down to boats sitting on little docks. Okay. After this guy basically disappeared. All right. Let me show you what these islands look like now. Okay. Notice when you get in, this starts to become, it's masked. Okay. Now it becomes a lot more evident, very clear as to what they've done. Look at this, almost cut it away around this particular little island like fog. If you know how the little cursor looks when you're doing Photoshop stuff, you can see where they basically brush this stuff so that all you can see is this, right? And then all the other pieces here are totally masked. They don't want you looking for some crazy reason, and I don't really know why, or maybe I do, I'm just not saying. All right. But look at this. They've gone around and they've masked. They don't want you looking at. There are islands in between here. Some of these islands, this one I think has a runway on it, so you can fly in and out like this right here. Okay. But again, notice when you start to get into the details, how certain things are cut in so you can't see other aspects, right? It's just blended together. We see that from time to time, certain runways. There's your little runway in and out, but there are these chains, islands in here. Look, you can even see in some of this, like this particular one where they didn't go through and mess with it, you can see boats, right? That's what it usually looks like. But now when you get over to this side, all right, let me back it up a little bit. That's just this particular little chain. But when you get away from it, look at it, how it's cut out. All right. You guys can do the math and figure that out. I say math. You know what I mean. Okay. Here it is. Flashbang schedule. Looks like he's got nothing on the docket. We will move on as we get into this piece. DOJ. So Biden's DOJ sues to stop Texas from arresting, deporting illegal aliens. Well, let me just tell you how this is going to play out, because finally, it looks like there's been enough heat applied to Abbott for him to make some type of move. I don't know that it'll be enough until the border is absolutely and actually closed. But it's a data point for you. This is why this is important. The 10th Amendment, if you're not familiar with that, basically it says the United States Constitution was ratified in 1791. It states that any powers not given to federal government or taken away from the states are reserved to the states or the people. That means we, the people, have the power over all of this. The 10th Amendment prevents the federal government from forcing states to pass or not pass legislation or to enforce federal law. Again, 10th Amendment prevents federal government to enforce federal law, right? The states basically take care of themselves. The feds have no business telling us how to do anything. So anyway, that's why we're seeing that pushback here in this article. And again, it is long overdue. All right. Okay. Greatest threat to America's national security is that the national debt hits $34 trillion for the first time. $34 trillion. Let that sink in. So, along with the steady increase in America's national debt, the federal government's borrowing costs on the debt are expected to triple over the next decade. Yeah, they're talking like $10 trillion. It's just some crazy number. But the debt payments could rise from the current $475 billion to $1.4 trillion by 2032 and $5.4 trillion by 2053. That's just on the debt. Absolutely insane. The U.S. spent $944 billion on Medicare, $805 on Medicaid, $1.2 trillion on Social Security. Yeah, but they've spent $150 billion on Ukraine. So let that kind of sink in. All right. The national debt is equal to $100,000 for every adult and child in the United States. And the debt to GDP ratio is the highest it's been since right after World War II. Yeah, well, it will be a new record after World War III because that is coming. So that's where we stand on that aspect of it. Not good for any of us. All right. Okay, this is going to be your NOTAMs. Big takeaway is the slop coming into the United States. You got a nor'easter coming up the East Coast, but this is going to be your current, looks like flashbang is headed home over the weekend. And we've got a new box here. I'm not sure what this is. Evers Nor, military operation activated. So that's today until 2 p.m. Okay, whatever that may entail, but that, if you're in that area, just know they put a box over you, right? They don't typically do the boxes, which is kind of interesting. All right, well, let's move on from that. Let's get over to the cyber attack map. You can see United States ranked number 1, Israel number 2. Okay, but just notice the flurry of activity coming into the United States today. All right, moving on. Okay, Israel killed this Aruri in Beirut with a guided missile. That's coming from a Lebanese official. Again, like we've said, they've been tracking a lot of stuff up in Lebanon, and I believe that area is getting ready to go hot. Okay, so the fact that Israel took out somebody over on that side, and then, of course, we go over here to this end. Like I showed you, that is the activity at the northern border between Israel and Lebanon. That's just in the last couple of days, and it continues on. So very busy, very active on that border that we need to pay very close attention to. But there's a picture of a cruise missile, and the missile beeps. There we go. Iran blames Israel, U.S. for deadly blast near the grave of Guards General Soleimani. Now, you may remember he was taken out when Trump was in office, thus the threats against Trump from the Iranians. But this looks like they basically are stacking bodies over there. Pretty crazy, as it was a twin bomb blast. At least 95 people in the country's south were killed during that. So anyway, they're blaming us in Israel. So that means that you can bet that we'll have some type of a elevated threat here in the United States because of that. All right. Now the other piece. IDF is in a high state of alert in all arenas. That is coming from their military spokesman. That means North and the South, not just Gaza, but this is they're basically getting ready to get it on like Donkey Kong. It looks like the North is where they're going to be headed next. Again, Isaiah 17, keep your eye on the prize there, because that tells us that we will wake up one day and Damascus will be no more. Now, I've shown you this map in the past. If you're not familiar with it, this shows you who is stacked up inside of Syria. And you will note that these are all in here, primarily Iranian flags. That means there are Iranian groups heavy along this corner right here. This is Lebanon. This is where it's getting ready to go. You've got Hezbollah in Lebanon as well. That's why you see the strikes. And they're just being fed out of here. This is the area they say Isaiah 17 will be no more. So we keep our eye on this basically because this is just stacked up, okay, with Iranians and Hezbollah, okay, all the way north. But if they push in, you can believe this is on the map, all right, for, that. Okay. All right, let's check this out. Bomb threats target state capitol buildings across the U.S. I didn't hear anything about this. Kind of crazy, but they're saying that there were multiple threats across multiple states. Capitol buildings in Connecticut, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi, Montana were all basically pulled out. And then one in Michigan, they remained off for the day. They gave everybody a green light to go back in, but it's just a data point for you, okay? Times we live in, they are a-changing. All right. Well, we knew this was coming eventually. Nothing left in the UK's military stockpiles for arming Ukraine. That's coming out of the Times of London. Yeah, they're saying, look, we've given them, as Scotty says, given them all she's got, Captain. So this is, looks like that's it from the UK. So, well, we needn't say more. So let's go keep on moving on, right? This one right here, Ukraine's Leopard 2 tanks are nearly all destroyed or broken. Yeah, they're already through what we've given them. Yeah, the days are limited. I will tell you, Ukraine's days are numbered. Well, no doubt about it, because Russia, as we just showed you what had happened over here the other day, we take away the Israel side, we show you the Russian side. Very, very active and busy. Russia looks to be stepping up what they're doing in Ukraine. And so we'll keep our eye on that. But that is way it looks as Ukraine's running out of stuff. The U.S. has already said we have given you the last allotment that we can give you, which was like $240 million or something. And then beyond that, they're going to have to go back to the boards. Of course, Flashbang is trying to bundle a package for the border of Texas and Ukraine, right? If we allow that to happen, shame on us. Because you know that it'll be very little going to the border. It's all optics, and the rest of it's going to go into his bank account in Ukraine. Okay, airstrike in central Baghdad kills Iranian-backed militia leader as regional tensions escalate again. Watch Syria. Iraq is that's just one of the extra chess piece moves that they operate in and out of. They tend to strike us more than we do anything else there, okay? But Iran is hot and heavy along that border, the northern border of Iraq. They're hot and heavy in Syria. And then, of course, we got the Houthis down in Yemen, who are also a proxy of the Iranian terrorist extremist, whatever you want to call them. Okay. All right, on the board, we just have this main piece I wanted to flush out on departures. Just one on that side, but that's not what it is. They just cleared the board on me. And we had actually several right here, as you'll notice. Sun Country All three 737-800s headed into Minneapolis, St. Paul. Those, I can guarantee you, that's all immigrants. So that's 600 immigrants right there that just came out of Biggs Army Airfield into Minneapolis, St. Paul. Okay, this is going to be Germany. Nothing going on in Dover. We have an arrival from Kuwait, 777. Notice you got a spar. That's a blue and white dignitary. And then go down a little further. We do have an Eastern Airlines that's departing out of there, headed to JFK. If I had to guess, that's probably going to be immigrants as well. Probably not troops, because we've seen them going in and out of that location. The only thing I have for RZE Poland, which is the forward operating base supporting Ukraine, is this one coming in from Dover, 747. Notice that it's headed to Hong Kong from there. So it's going back in. That's a Coletta bird. And then this one is camper flight going to Nuremberg. So it looks like maybe a little bit of troops rotation there. Again, as I stated in the last one, we borrow artillery from South Korea and we give it to Ukraine. All right. Somebody confused me and said that we gave it to Israel, and I don't recall saying that. If I did, let me make that correction now. We're not giving that to Israel. That is coming out, 500,000 rounds of 155 Mike artillery, and we've been giving it to Ukraine. We had to borrow it on loan. And of course, we're paying for it every time they fire one off. But anyway. Okay, here's your camper flight. As we push past the 30-minute mark, we're going to wrap this up pretty quickly, but you can see we've got two coming out of the United States and one headed across the drink, one coming back from Europe. On over to Omni. Now, these are cargo companies, right? Omni, they do passenger and cargo, coming out of Seattle, headed to Yokota Air Base, Tokyo, but they have been acquired by the DoD. It's part of their whole continuation or continuity of operation plan. When they run out of aircraft that they can use, they have reach back. They can take civilian aircraft and basically they get paid for it. And they basically pull them in and they use them to move things around. So everything I've been reporting on, for the most part, these charter flights, that's what that is, okay? Okay, and this is going to be national cargo. Again, a 757, Airbus, and then a 747. So that 747 going into Ben Gurion out of JFK. Everything else look like we've got one coming out of Fort Drum to Alexandria. That's interesting. I would willing to bet we were bringing migrants up here, right? And then we're picking some up and probably bringing them Alexandria. I mean, it could be military moves, but I think that's the Mountain Division that's up there, 4th Mountain Division, or 10th? No, 10th. Yeah, 10th Mountain. Okay. That's up here at Fort Drum. Okay. Now, and then this one, San Juan, Puerto Rico. I think that I did that right. Yeah, San Juan, Puerto Rico to South Carolina. And that's probably migrant related, more than likely. All right, nothing there from NATO. They had one aircraft up and it's down. Western Global, notice that one's coming from Europe down to Fort Myers. We've seen that twice now. I don't know what that's about. Kind of strange. Very, very out of the norm, okay? Okay, well, listen, that's going to do it for our SITREP today. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. We will see you over on Patreon. If you're on there, we'll see you Saturday and Sunday with our Under the Radar as well as the Monkey Minute as always. Everybody else, we'll see you next week. That's going to do it for today. You guys have a great rest of your day. Like I said, stay frosty, keep that powder dry. And if you want peace, prepare for war. It's coming. God bless. Monkey out. Thanks for watching, folks. You can check out the latest gear and products by selecting the QR code on your screen now or go to monkeyworksus.com.